probably unusual to start a video at the end. I got a call a couple of weeks ago from one of my sons who said, "Hey, Dad, during this whole lockdown thing, you should set up another Minecraft server." I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. I've been known to do that from time to time. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Like, chatted back and forth. Settled on Feed the Beast, Stone Block, and we also set up a second server for Sky Odyssey. And you can kind of see this is where we're at. We're in Sky Odyssey, and I really enjoyed it. So this is the end portal frame, and you can see that there's a quest series in here. In this quest series, you got to go do a bunch of stuff. Like, this guy is a real pain in the butt, and so on. I even did a minor edit here to this quests. This black hole controller. When you get the series of quests, this one is actually a deprecated block. You can't even build it. So, in the interest of being very OCD and completionist, I changed that quest so that we could finish it. And another son of mine actually has finished this pack as well. He still lives under my roof, and the son that requested this is going to college, is away to college, and he didn't log in once. So, just so noted, we finished this, and he wasn't even here, and it was his idea. So, as you're watching this, Bill, this was for you, except you didn't show. So, whatever, man. Anyhow, this little dark area here was the first real challenge. No, it wasn't always made out of Ethereum blocks. It was cracked stone the first time around, and I had dirt over the top of it. And I built one of these little jump things because I needed to be able to get out without the mobs following me. And the basic purpose here was for me to get bone meal. I had to do this to get mobs to spawn to get bone meal, and I did that away from my base. And obviously, if you're looking at the fog right now that has appeared since I started this, it's been since I started this that the Eldritch guys really want a piece of my hide, and have since I used the Cheater's Thumb-onomicon and gain a crazy level of insanity, insane level of insanity, if you will. So I'm gonna just, I guess we'll start here. So these are some programmers and things I set up. I love RF tools, and I used RF tools to manage this. Oh, there we go. See, if you just ignore it, it goes away. Insanity just goes away. You don't have to see a shrink or anything. That's the lesson you should take away from this. My insanity is the count from Sesame Street, and so when the count equals count, which is another random number, he says, ah ha ha! But I've killed an obscene number of withers using this Woot mod. And this gets you something that no other texture pack has really given me, which is creative items. And so you kind of earn the right to go play with creative stuff. And it's been a very interesting part of this pack, and it's led to lots of crazy stuff that I wouldn't have normally done. So this, the Nether was the second challenge, really. And by the Nether, I don't mean the Nether. Like, when you first get to this world, there's nothing here. Like, you can't see anything. You're in a void. And when it says loading terrain for the first time, you're standing here staring off into the red. I have night vision on, so it's bright red at the moment. But I also thought it would be really funny if I decorated it with endstone, because, haha, new players on the server that come to here for the first time, they all come through the same portal, which was interesting. And I did the same thing that you're supposed to do in normal versions of Minecraft, which is you build a box around the portal in frame so that the ghasts and other explodies don't kill it. And then over here, there's a fortress, so we were able to find that eventually. get a nether quartz chicken, which is a key component, and head home. But that took me a long time. It actually took a very long time to do that without a mega torch, and the zombie pigmen constantly showing up where I had my toehold here. So those are kind of the two big challenges. After that, things got quite a bit easier. I was pretty easily into the mid game by that point. Oh, you also have to construct your own end portal. So there's a how-to on how to do that here in the guide. So you go to there and it says getting to the end. It tells you how to build it. So that's cool. Other stuff I used to have here, I had one of these deep mob learning simulators, and so since I was my first sort of air quotes mob grinder, this became where I put these guys down for the first time. This is an interesting mod. I like it. We'll use again. 10 out of 10. Deep mob learning. So this is where I started. Well, technically I started in a tree, and then I very quickly decided that I still work, and while my son might be out of school and want to play around with things, I only had so many hours in a day, and I didn't want an experience that difficult to start with at the time. I might go back and do that now. I don't know, on a different world, see if I can start with just the tree. It seems to me that that's asking for an enormous amount of pain, and I'm not sure that I am in the mood for that in these current strange days. So I had a chicken farm out here. That's now compacted down to what chickens you see here. Built a ender chest pretty quick. My son was like, "So your ender chest is orange, 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 right?" I was like, yeah. He's like, "Can I get a cup of milk?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I don't have a cow in my base. Can I get a bucket of milk?" It's like, sure. Yes, the same guy that beat me done, by the way. So he was finished with this mod pack before I was. These are beacons from. That's a creative solar panel. These are beacons from Environmental Tech. Max beacons. So you can see we got to tier 6. I didn't actually end up upgrading the laser, which is kind of dumb, I guess. This was sort of the mining laser. I think I'm running the botanic one at the moment. Yeah. I want to plant stuffs. So anyway, I'm getting distracted. So once I had another quartz, it was easy to get kind of into mid game. In the early game, I started with these magmatic dynamos, and then once I got kind of off the ground, I scaled these out horizontally into this sort of grid of stuff. And I tried not to. I wanted to skip straight from here to the draconic evolution. Draconic reactor. Now your eyes are not deceiving you. This is a maximum draconic infusion reactor, powered basically straight off the battery. So, yeah, it infuses stuff as quick as I can get it to infuse. If I do them up here. So that was cool, and I've done a lot of stuff with that. But it turned out that I needed power. I needed some kind of mid-game power. Mid-game is pretty long. This is a decent reactor. I learned quite a bit with this reactor. Weirdly enough, I've used extreme reactors forever. I still call it big reactors, much to my one son's dismay. He's like, it hasn't been called that in forever. I'm like, I know. Just let me have this. So apparently it's not gonna let me click. Oh, there we go. So you can see this is pretty efficient. I think I was running these at like 98 or 97 to power 2 of these guys, and the efficiency of them was just like bananas. It was insane. I was getting like 0.005 millibuckets per tick to generate 50,000 RF, and that was crazy. So, but then I realized, hey, I'm not generating enough power to power a draconic reactor, which I had planned to put out that way, by the way. That's what that little bridge of quartz exists for. The whole purpose of this was to go out that direction, and find a safe distance to build the reactor, which I am sometimes good about not breaking and sometimes not as good about not breaking. Yeah, this is not working as well as I had hoped. I'll get to that later. Reflex. I want to fix it. I don't see all my particles surging from this lower ball into the upper ball as I was promised from the... wait. Did one of you just say 0? I really swear one of you just said 0. Y'all better say 2 gig RF. Anyway, yeah, when we first hooked this up, it was pretty cool because I made a new one just to have an empty because I had filled this guy up before I got to him. And so then when I built, the TARDIS reactor, it's like, well, where am I going to put the energy? Like, I already have a ridiculous amount of energy. Still pretty ridiculous amount of energy. This is still in previous mod packs in Stone Block. I was only able to get this guy to like 10%, and that was, if you've seen on my channel where I was stacking draconic reactors into a single chunk, because I was stacking draconic reactors into a single chunk. I think I had like 8 of them going, and I got that guy to like 10% after weeks of running. It's like 5 to 10%. And so I had at least proven that we were able to move the needle, that the counter wasn't broken, and that it is fillable if you're willing to run it long enough. So yeah, there's that. There was also a point where I did the rainbow generator, and these are all the furnaces you need to run the rainbow generator, and I've got them all gummed up right now with those redstone. I didn't want that running, and I don't want any of them running. These were the first row of like really annoying generators. Frosty, halitosis. This generates like a dragon breath effect, and constant explosions were real pain. So that's why they have muffler blocks on them. And then this is like the death generator. So you like die if you're near here, which is super annoying. So I just moved it way the heck away. This is like the magic wing. Whee! So in the magic wing, I had Britannia, had all my Thaumcraft stuff. Got my Cheaty Everlasting Guilty Pool for Britannia. So I love all the magic mods, I really do. And one of the things that happened once you start getting the game end or the game over loot crates, your game can go crazy because these are all, you might notice these are all infinite supply. Like I have an infinite supply of Celis Mundus. And you're like, why would I need an infinite supply of gauntlets? I don't. You don't. But if I make something once, then you never know what recipe I might use down the road. So, it takes 2 seconds to make something infinite. What I didn't realize was that later in the game we had gotten the storage drawer infinite upgrade. And that was super handy. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm an idiot for not changing from these barrels into these 2x2 drawers, just because they're more compact, and I only need one storage bus, right? So like if I put this guy down, there's a storage bus under it. I guess I can show you this ugly underbelly. I like to keep the aesthetics clean, above ground. So I have a creative energy cell. I can literally put an ME system anywhere. I love ME systems. This is an interface. This interface under here, it goes back to a storage bus that goes to my main ME system that is on this. So like if I'm looking for air crystals, I have all of these. So like this 3.1G, 3.1G. This just means that I have this one is down in the regular storage. So I guess I'll go show you the factory now. Actually, I'll show you this infusion altar because I was kind of proud of this pattern. The Chironite. I love how purple looks with Thaumcraft stuff. So magic-y, purpley, it's like Precantatio is purple anyway, right? So So I thought this was a pretty cool setup, and it's fairly it's plenty stable enough for Sky Odyssey. Let's go check out the blood altar. Yes, by the way, those are all fluids. So with the creative upgrade for thermal expansion, their tanks become creative tanks, and then you can just drain them into here. So you can end up with, you know, max limits on all of your black hole tanks. There's a lot of buckets of something, so whatever. And I did the same with the blood altar. Just occurred to me, this is a total accident, but that looks like it spells blood, right? Like B-L-O-O. Actually, that's totally unintentional. The intention here, by the way, the intention was just to use the dark cabling, the darkest possible cabling, as the aesthetic, because it's a blood altar. And so you can kind of see in here, like, I use these fibers to separate out these guys, because they can only do eight channels per smart cable, and so I like separated them out. That really looks like it says blood, or it's gonna say blood. That's funny. I never observed. I've got tons of hours into this game. I've never observed that before. That's hilarious. All right, so there's the blood altar and a creative blood tank and a pipe. So I use. I also like to use mana glass as flooring. I mean, this is a Sky void world kind of thing, right? So I like to keep that aesthetic. And the mana glass really is nearly invisible. It's a nearly invisible thing. So, and then this is something I just made out of tanks. It's just kind of a sculpture. It just happens to fit in the blood altar. It was kind of a coincidence. I had it before I had the altar here, but it worked out really well. So my son and my daughter were like, dude, what's that? I'm like, blood? I'm like, what? It's like, it's for blood magic. This is my mainline ME, and to get it started, and my pet polar bear. Hi, Bob. To get it started, you know, you can see where I first got my Infinity upgrades. You know, there's my creative conversion kit. So now I can convert all my tanks, any strongbox, any of my thermal expansion machines into creative mode if I wanted to. So that's pretty cool. And then that all runs on this ME. And by doing so, I was able to max out the storage components, make a couple of them, and just, you know, go crazy, right? So these are all maxed out storage components because I could, and it's kind of dumb. So then you get to a point where you only have to make anything once. And either you can put it in your ME, or you can use one of these guys and EMC it, right? So anything that's EMCable can also be done on the ME. So essentially, you only have to carry these two things, your transmutation tablet and your wireless crafting, and you can get to anything and everything that you've ever made one time. So it's like, prove yourself once, and then it's creative for that thing. And so with these, like what I call foldables, you go from this one to this one, and then you need this one for this one, and so on. You know, these different chains of things that scale up. It's super handy for that, because you only have to make the base item one time. Then you make the tier 2 item one time. And then I liked this aesthetic a little bit. Even though I like the storage drawers as a convenience thing, the aesthetic here was, I thought, kind of a totemic Native American, American Indian, you know, Thunderbird kind of design, especially with one set. So I thought that was pretty cool. This was sort of my secondary factory. So the secondary factory expansion to down here, where I had all my machines that I used to complete all the quests to make the things that you saw by the frame that I started the video on. So there. That was that. I don't think I have much else to say or to show. I had this last box over here was for the mob deep learning. It's where we ended up over here. And this is just my trial box. So I built a box out of palladium that, you know, you can really move. And then I did my trial keys here. So that was that. That's a review of Le Base, and I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Wanted to do a quick video of it, and so that's why this whole thing isn't a playthrough. It just starts at the end. It's like, what did you do? I did it. Oh man, I got all the latex and all the magic and all the plastic and all the energy. Oh my god. Oh yeah, EMC. I did want to show one more thing. If you learn anything from this video, you might learn this little trick with EMC. You'll notice that that is a buttload of EMC. Like, I'm producing more EMC per tick than most of you probably will ever use or see as an EMC in a game with these expansions. So with Project EX, there's some other stuff. Like, these bonsai pots are really cool, and they produce a ton of EMC. Like, if I look at this guy, let's pick one up. Okay, so we pick up this EMC item, and it's 81 peta, or penta even. I don't know how you want to say it, so we'll go penta. That's a stupid amount, right? That's a stupid amount. That's fair. It's fair to say that. But then I got these things. So I got this thing called the Final Star, and originally I was piping it out of these barrels. I was just using one of the extra utilities pipes, because like even more than this guy. It's like, holy cow! It's like 10x over that. So, all right. So then that became the thing that I started pushing into the EMC. As I made a bunch of them, an infinite number. And then it occurred to me that with the Creative Cell, I can make ME systems anywhere. And so now I just have all of these guys with 6 ME buses, just cranking them full every tick, with multiple acceleration upgrades. I'm not sure what the optimum setup of these is, to be perfectly honest. I have another setup in another dimension, and it's radically ridiculous. Sorry, I keep just flipping the screen around, but I mean, I'm not even gonna guess. Anyway, they're dumb numbers. They're stupidly large, insane numbers. It turns out that all of these stupidly huge numbers had me doing some homework. I got terribly curious as I started editing this video. What are these numbers called? You've already seen some of the labels, but then another thought occurred to me. Given what EMC is really about, Project E exchanges one stone of Minecraft, one basic block unit type, for 1 point. That's 1 point. And the freeze frame is standing currently at 744 yata of those. So, given that that's an insane number, I was curious, is that more stone than has ever been generated by all the actual games of vanilla Minecraft? Is there a world in which I could trade my EMC for all the stone that Minecraft has ever generated? Ever? First, we had to determine the world size, and it turns out that's not actually a simple question. So, according to this article, Notch's original plan and design was 30 million blocks. So, X and Z axis were then 30 million blocks each. That's a number I can work with. To some degree, those numbers might be the 64-bit limit, and to some other degree, they are other numbers. But essentially, the game is playable to this limit, and it always has been playable-ish to those limits. So I'm going to stick with these. So 30 million X, 30 million Z, obviously the infamous 256Y. This is the number of total potential blocks, and you can see that it's a peta block of blocks. Now, the problem with this is obviously that, number one, no one ever generates a full world. So unless you're doing some crazy algorithm that's going out and generating a full world, you're probably not doing this. The second thing is that even if you generated this full world, it wouldn't, unless you're playing stone block, it's not going to be all stone. So the average vanilla, Minecraft block of stone is probably going to be something like 20% of all the blocks. So it's going to be significantly lower than this. But for rough orders of magnitude, this is a decent number. So for the average player, it's a number smaller than this. Okay, let's find the number of players then. So according to this article, it's about 112 million, and then according to a Google search, it's about 91 active players. So I'm going to go with active players because those are the people that are going to generate all those blocks. And so that's where we get to this page. And here we can see that if 91 million players each generated their full potential in stone blocks, I would still be bigger than this number in EMC right now, which is bonkers. I just want to say absolutely, totally bonkers. And now return you to your regularly scheduled, boring fly-through. They're dumb numbers. I'm just going to lull myself to sleep in these little bonsai pots. These little glowing, soothing, color-changing bonsai pots. Good night. Oh, and coin mining. Right, yeah. There's always something I'm going to miss. There's so much that I did in this world to get to the end of it that it's going to be silly not revisiting it, because I feel like aesthetically it's not bad. Yeah, it's not my best work, but it's pretty neat. It looks neat. All of the base. There you go. Okay, there's the glamour shot. Bye. Bye, Sky Odyssey.